If you're like me and you've fallen in love with the reflective beauty of metallics, then fear not, as this is not a fly-by-night trend.
The 1980s were known for its bold use of gold and brass in interiors, but nowadays we see subtle traces of metallics introduced to lift an interior space. The allure of metallics comes from its ability to catch the eye and brings a sense of glamour to an interior space. Whether in wallpapers, through objet or striking lighting, be sure to look for hand-me-downs or visit second-hand stores and add some reflective charm to your decor scheme.
You don't have to go crazy with metallics to be on trend. Adding smaller items to the space can make a difference, like spray painting interesting ornamental pieces or finding some second-hand brassware. I have some budget-friendly tips and tricks on how to bring bling into your home. This is a great DIY project using copper piping to make a candelabrum. What you will need: copper piping cut to specific sizes, 4 elbow pieces, 2 T-fittings, sandpaper used for metal, a pipe cutter, some clear adhesive or marker, and measuring tape. The first step that you're going to do is cut your copper piping to size. I cut 2 200mm sizes over here and 3 100mm sizes. That's 20 and 10 centimeters. So let's start with the 10 centimeters or 100mm. And then make a nice visual marking over here. That's where you're going to cut. Now we're going to place the mark under the blade here of the pipe cutter. What I do now is I use the clamping mechanism to tighten a little more, but not too tight where you can't move it in a circular motion. And that's a really clean cut over there. It can be sharp to touch, so just be careful. And that's where the metal sandpaper comes in. What's interesting about this candelabrum is it's movable and it needs only a little bit of glue on some of the fittings. So I've got these 2 long legs over here, and you can really do any design you want, but this design for me is quite special because you can build onto it, and you can also make it really long for big dining room tables or make it really short and small for like coffee tables. So here we go. What I'm doing is just putting the 2 200mm pieces into the elbow pieces like so. Now we're going to make the raised bit over here. So let's put that in the middle of the 2 T-pieces. Can you see it coming together? And these other ones go over here. Now where do you think that goes? Let's place it in here. If it doesn't fit into the fittings like the elbow pieces or the T-fittings, give it a good sand with the sandpaper and that should make it fit nicely. Now look at this. This is the candelabrum. Beautiful design. You can move it into different positions on your table to suit your table shape or size. But there are some pieces we need to secure. Some fittings like over here, otherwise the candle will fall and we don't want that. So right where we need to secure these fittings, all you need is some general clear adhesive. And you're only going to put a tiny bit into the inner part of the fitting like this, all around, as that's where the pipe is going to make contact with the fitting and give a nice, secure, snug fit. Now that the glue has fully dried, we can reassemble our candelabrum. Put this T-piece over here. And again, I kept the movement on this section here. And now all there is to do is put our beautiful candles in. Looks so pretty. Working with copper is great fun and it's easy. And if you don't like the writing that comes on the copper, you can take that off with some steel wool or some turpentine. But I actually quite like it. It adds to like an industrial look of this candelabrum. So I'm going to leave it on for now. Another inexpensive way to bring metallics into your home is using a metallic paint or spray paint. both come in a wide variety of colors and finishes. I'm gonna have some fun with these wooden bowls over here and use this brushed metallic paint. It's a beautiful copper finish. So I've got 3 different bowls here, and I'm gonna do 3 different paint looks. For the first shallow one, I think I'm gonna paint the interior of the bowl, give it some bling. Now you can leave it like that if you wish, but if you want a more popping out look and color, I think you can go in for a second coat, but let's let that dry for a little bit. Now for this oblong wooden bowl, I'm going to use some masking tape. I would like to do an interesting dip look effect. So what you're going to do is you're going to try to do a straight line with the tape all the way around. And then what I'm going to do is paint just that section in this beautiful copper paint over here. And then for the smaller bowl, let's not go in too heavy. I'm just going to paint the rim. While this is drying and I'm deciding whether to give it a second coat or not, we'll come back to that later. Let's move on to this beautiful concrete vase and the hammered copper spray paint. The part that I do want spray painted, I think I'm going to go about nearly halfway on the vase to give it a really polished look. Right, I'm going to set this aside so it can fully dry. I've decided to go into a second coat of paint with these wooden bowls, but only these 2 because I feel they need a little bit more bling and a better coverage. So it's nicely dried, the first coat. Let's just add a nice thicker second coat. And now it's time to reveal our wonderful product. And we're done. How easy and inexpensive this project was. Look how beautiful these household items look with a bit of bling added to them. All that's left for me to do is to go find an interesting space to put them in.